today's that day we talk about Brilliant Stars, Pokemon's most recent and probably most recently beloved set of trading cards in honestly about a good year's time. So, how are prices trending? How did I do with my openings? Well, in today's video you'll find out. But first, let's roll that intro. Hey Gengar Gang, what is going on? My name is Ryan, this is the Analytic Gengar, and welcome to another video. In today's video, friends, we talk about Brilliant Stars, and more importantly, we do a price trend analysis, taking a look at the price of many of the cards from the set and the trainer gallery over the past 2 weeks or so, from launch to a few days ago at the beginning of this week. As usual, these videos are part of an ongoing series I have here on the channel where we take a look at Pokemon card sets, take a look at how prices are behaving from launch to a few weeks out, more or less just proving the anecdotal theory that, yeah, you should wait until after launch, well after launch, in order to buy singles in order to complete a binder. And more importantly, I take a look at many of the different openings that I have done, either on screen or off, in order to get a good idea if financially it was a sound decision to open those cards, or if I should have just bought the cards outright in its place. So, before we get started, as always, if you like today's video, if you like today's content, definitely feel free to like. It's the easiest way to show some support to the channel, and also make sure that YouTube continues to recommend my content to help the channel continue to grow. And of course, if you're new here and not already, feel free to consider subscribing to join the Gengar Gang. But without further ado, let's jump right on into this. So, Brilliant Stars, mucho cards in this one. So there are a lot of, just regular cards from the regular set. Plus, don't forget that there is also that really cool trainer gallery, which also has an additional 30 cards that alone, at, pre-release pricing, were worth $414. So, if you think about it that way, there are some really, really expensive cards in the set. I think that is one of the things that stands out the most to me, is how expensive some individual cards within the set are. Obviously, you have two different Charizards, you have a couple other cards that are going to be fan favorites for one reason or the other, so it really wasn't a surprise that this set had some really outstandingly expensive cards, but it is still, something worth noting, especially for someone who isn't necessarily 100% in or hasn't been following some of the hype surrounding the set up to its launch. So, as usual, my analysis is usually broken out into two different sections. So what I'll usually do is I will adjust this screen ever so slightly. There you go. So right over here, you'll see the two different pivot tables that I usually use to kind of show some of the stuff. So as you can see, you have the prices from 2/23, which would be pre-release pricing, since that would have been a few days before the official launch of the set. Then you have prices the morning after the set officially launched and was available at retail locations. So that was Saturday, February 26th. And then I picked a random day in March 3/7, which I believe was Monday morning of this week, in order to, take a look and see, hey, a few weeks after launch, how are these prices looking? Now, at a high level, the one thing that stands out to me immediately is that for the ultra rare Pokemon cards in this set, pre-release pricing on them was $2,200. The entire set was valued at about $2,280. Shockingly, and perhaps not surprisingly though, by the morning after pre-release, you had a total price of $1,305.99. So, this set behaved in a really weird way, because it looks as though pre-release was stupid high, as is expected, given there were Charizards, given there were alternate arts and things of the sort. Then, immediately after launch, probably because of the amount of product that had hit store shelves, prices tanked. Now, interestingly enough, prices have actually gone up about $150, most of that being owed to the ultra rare. So if you look across the ultra rare column, it went up from about about 1,280 to about 1,440. Sounds like, the $150 delta is almost entirely driven by the ultra rares in this capacity. Most of the other types of cards, like the uncommons, the rares, yeah, everything else has actually declined. So not only are the ultra rares making up for that, but they're also making up for about $150 increase in the price from $226 the morning after launch of this set to Monday of this week. So as a delta from pre-release pricing all the way to this past Monday, you're looking at about a $930 decrease. Now, if you're a fan of this channel, and by the way, there are more videos like this one available for you to go watch, go check that playlist out if you haven't already, you'll know that most sets don't behave in this way. Most sets will decline pretty swiftly between the launch of the cards and thereafter, and then they kind of stagnate. But to see such a drastic dip in pricing, and then to see like a little kick upwards, you know, as like time has gone on, it's really interesting because you don't usually see card sets behaving like this. I think that this behavior is attributable to a few different factors, however. I think the first thing is that this is one of the few sets that has come out where COVID shutdowns and lockdowns are no longer playing a major role. Meaning, you're not seeing pre-release pricing that is on sealed product that is stupidly high. So you're not seeing $140 booster boxes because although these booster boxes are in demand, the market for them is anywhere from $115 to $125. And I think there is more demand than supply still, but I don't think supply is the issue anymore. I think at some point it might be the sellers who might be looking to make a couple extra bucks because they know how in demand this product is. All that said, however, there's more than enough booster boxes to go around. I see them all over on the internet. There's definitely tons of places that you can go buy them, and even if it's not a booster box that you would like to purchase, there are certainly other types of sealed products out there like blisters that are still hanging in my Target store shelf as of Wednesday of this week. So just imagine that. My restock usually happens on a Friday night, and not only did it survive the entire weekend, but it then also is still there during the weekdays, and there's a possibility that the next restock may hit, because I believe we get hit weekly, and even still there might be some sleeved blisters on store shelves. So just a case in point, you know, very clear anecdotal evidence that, you know, the supply is out there, and coincidentally, so too the demand has also kind of tapered off just a tiny bit because scalpers really aren't making the money on this stuff that they used to. Therefore, it's not an easy target or mark for them when they walk into a Target, a Walmart, a local game store. So that's one reason why I think this the prices are behaving the way they are. The second reason I think they are behaving the way they are is because of the thought of hype versus the amount of product. Again, bear in mind, over the past, you know, couple of years, we've basically been told if there's a cool card in a set, it's going to be very hard to come by for two reasons. One, good luck getting your hand on sealed product. And then two, even if you get your hand on sealed product, if you open it up, are you going to get anything in there that's going to be, you know, worthy of saying it's a pull? I think the combination of the two has made a lot of people behave in a way that the prices right around pre-release, so right over here, are incredibly high because people are genuinely thinking, I'm never going to pull a Charizard because I'm never going to get my hands on product and never get that lucky anyway. It's basically like a super probability. Then, on launch day, the reality of the situation starts to kick in. Your pre-orders that you ordered and expected to get canceled, they start showing up at your doorstep. You see product on store shelves, maybe even launch day product that is at Target, at GameStop, etc., etc. And now all of a sudden, the value of these cards is less because, especially in the ultra rare column, because what ends up happening is no one cares anymore because you can go to the store and buy some of this stuff. And guess what? Although they are kind of tough pull rates, they're not terrible pull rates. And more importantly, at least you're able to get your hands on product. So it's not like a situation in the past where you could neither get your hands on product nor pull the card you wanted. At least this time you're able to get your hands on the product, and that alone might be enough to drive the price on this stuff down, because again, there'll be less demand on singles if more people can pull those singles from packs. So I think that's another major reason why we saw this massive dip from pre-release to the morning after. I think that's what's really astounding, if I haven't made it abundantly clear yet, is that this is happening the morning after launch. That's something we usually don't see. Normally, we'd pull this price as of the day of launch, and then we'd pull this price as of, a few weeks later, which is effectively column N and column O, and what you usually see is a decrease in price, because what would usually end up happening is, you would see really high prices right around launch, and then it would kind of taper off as more product rolls out, as more product gets into people's hands, into store shelves, packs get opened up, and singles get generated that enter the market, flood the market. Again, tale as old as time. Supply goes up, price goes down in order to move all those added cards that got pumped into the market. But what's so interesting is that right here, we're seeing the price kind of taper up a little bit. And that's probably because the initial waves of Pokemon cards have probably since been chewed up, put into the market. That amount has now made itself abundantly clear and finite. And so now the additional step that needs to get taken is some additional waves of product need to get pumped into the market. I know for a fact that the build and battle boxes will be coming out in March. So that alone, the build and battle stadiums rather. So these ones should be coming out in March, which means in theory we're going to have a lot more product. They'll usually pump out some additional rounds of booster boxes, plus we have Astral Radiance to look forward to a little bit later on in May. So for a variety of reasons, there's a nice blending of different things happening right now that's probably responsible for this weird little pattern that we're seeing in the prices. Super quickly, in terms of the individual rarities and some of the cards that I'd like to call out. So within the commons, I mean, nothing uber crazy. I think the most crazy thing here is probably the, is probably like, just like on any given case, like you'll see some 26-cent drops. So you'll see like pre-release price for this common Axew was a 30-cent card. Now it's a 4-cent card. Just goes to show like, you could have saved yourself a lot of pain, a lot of trouble if you had just kind of chilled out, waited. And again, this is what I tell people all the time is please do not go buy these cards at pre-release prices. Wait a few more days and you will get tons of money. Case in point, you could have spent $13 at pre-release. You could have spent $1.93 this past Monday and got all of the commons for the set. Price differential of $11.32. The holo rares tell a similar story, $12 to nearly $4, about an $8 drop. Rares, same thing, $10 to $3, $7 difference. And then the uncommons, 14 to 3, $10.97 drop. The other obvious item that I wanted to talk about are the ultra rares, because not every ultra rare, shockingly, believed or behaved in the same way. So you'll see that a lot of these cards have dipped quite significantly, right? So most of them you'll see are on the negative. I don't believe there may even be one that has actually increased in pricing. Wherever you see a 0 in this column, it's just because there wasn't a price on tcgplayer.com where all of this data is sourced. And super quickly, what I also did was I brought in the price change from 323 to 326 as well, so that it could be seen. Obviously, the one metric that I don't have here would be the change from 326 to 37, or 226 to 37. But I think the point gets made, right? Most of these cards are on the decline. What is interesting is that some cards continue to fall. But there are some cards that slowly but surely nudge the numbers up a little bit. So just as an example, if you look at the Charizard alternate art, you'll see that the price was originally $185, went down to $169, but then for this past Monday, it went up again to $185. Ditto, all of the Charizards actually. So if you look at them, they all follow a similar track. Notice that they don't go quite as high as the previous, but it is something to note that they are part of the reason that's kind of kicking that up a little bit. Other cards are consistently on the decline. So Cynthia's Ambition, the full art, It's now a $20 card. No big deal, easy peasy, very simple and easy to understand. So interestingly enough, there are quite a few cards that are behaving the way the Charizard are. You can see the Arceuses are kind of a mixed bag. You have some that behave like the Charizard in that U-shaped curve. They start out high, they go to a bottom, and they come slightly back up. Then there are other ones that do the opposite. So right here you can see the alternate art has just been on a flat decline. It has slowed down that decline quite dramatically, but that's an example of a card that continues to drop in value. So that's part of the reason that we're seeing that dip from pre-release pricing all the way up till now. So lastly but not least is how did I do in terms of my overall pulls? Well, to walk you through everything I opened up, I did open those 5 build and battle kits. You saw those in a video a few weeks back. I did open 40 sleeved blisters. I got them on sale for $143.96. I opened 3 random blisters that I got, I don't know, somewhere. 2 booster boxes that I got for $125 each after taxes and shipping. And, of course, 10 additional random packs I picked up at Target this past Wednesday when I went. Now that gets me a total of $537.81 in product that I purchased. Now, remember that number because obviously that'll come into play for our total profit and loss, but also because, interestingly enough, I kinda didn't do that well up until the booster boxes. So bear in mind that total number because it's going to prove an interesting case. Now, in terms of pulls, you'll see that I, do this thing where I just basically codify everything and then bring in the prices, and that's how I kind of mathematically figure everything out. Obviously, I also then do this calculation over here where I do a few different things. One is I will go ahead and enter the number of packs that I opened up. So right here, you'll see I opened up 145 packs. Every pack has 6 commons, 3 uncommons, and 1 rare card. And I practically treat everything like bulk, given how teeny tiny the actual numbers are. So you can see here the total number of commons, uncommons, rares. I take away the 51 hits that I pulled, and then I get my total number of net rares. Those are the numbers that get multiplied by the industry standard bulk pricing, and then those get me the total prices that are the total bulk cards. I gave myself 10 cents per code. I usually give my codes away, but in theory, if I wanted to, I could have sold them. And so the total value up till now between the bulk sale of cards and the sale of codes is $72.34. So far, not looking quite compelling. Now, if we go back over here to where my pulls are, you'll notice that everything up till here has a question mark. And that's because I really wasn't keeping track of what got pulled from where prior to my 2 booster boxes. But what I did note is that up till now, I only had $181.95 in pulls, and that's using pre-release pricing. If I used, Monday's pricing, it was only $99.43, which is even worse. So it looks like I would have come out with a net loss, pretty rough like, because up till now, I had opened up these 3 items that I have highlighted on screen. The total cost would have been $245, and just to keep the math very simple, let's just assume it was $100 in pulls and $50 in random code cards and bulk pricing. I would have lost about $100. Then the story only gets worse because yesterday is when I got my 2 booster boxes in. So then I decided to open up my 2 booster boxes. And with the 2 booster boxes, I had $378 in pulls originally. And then as of this Monday, that same pricing would have reflected it as $209. Mind you, my total price now goes up to $495. So it looks like I would have made about $200 in value from the cards themselves, plus let's just say $60 in code cards and bulk pricing, but unfortunately that doesn't even nearly come close to the nearly $500 that I had spent on product. And then it only gets worse because if you do the 10 packs that I bought at Target, the total pre-release pricing would have been $410. Unfortunately, prices as of this Monday would have brought me all the way down to $225. Mind you, I had $225 in value of hits, but I had about $537 worth of actual items that I had purchased for this particular item, for this particular set. My saving grace, and this is where things get stupid interesting, is this second booster box. This second booster box that I had, and you'll see this in a community post later, it had the Arceus alternate art, it had the Arceus gold card, and it had the Arceus secret rare rainbow rare card. So between those three, you'll notice the numbers are right down here, 176, 166, 184, and again, you'll see these in a community post, and go check out Instagram, I'll try to post it up there as well. These three cards alone were worth $193 as of Monday. This is what saved me, because this not only allowed me to recover, but actually come kinda pretty close. So if I'm looking at this entire list now, you'll see that the totals would have been $815 as of 2/23 in February, $460 as of Monday. Bear in mind, I still have to add the code cards and the sale of bulk. So that's $70.34 plus $460 in value of hits brings me up to a total value of $532.74. I spent in total $537.81. So, thankfully, I only ended up losing, as a result of that last booster box coming in super clutch, $5.07. Now, again, as a collector, do I really care? No, because the whole point is opening the packs and enjoying them. And frankly, I'm willing to pay $5 to open up the packs. What I find interesting, however, is $600 or right around there looks to be that golden number. I have noticed if you try to open too few cards and you just get really unlucky, you end up losing quite a bit of money. But what I have noticed is, especially with booster boxes, if you open up a few of them and mix in some random product like some build and battle kits or some blisters, you do end up in a pretty solid scenario. You do end up coming relatively close, and in the past I have proven this quite a few times. You'll see on screen right now, I'm showing the Chilling Reign stuff. Like, you know, Chilling Reign, I came to like $97, and I think that's because I honestly went a little overboard. I spent about $850. I also opened booster boxes at a way more expensive price than the Brilliant Stars stuff. So it's interesting, but I think booster boxes and about $600 to $700 of value is where you want to be. Obviously, you want to make sure your booster boxes aren't too expensive, but if you're looking at it from a financial perspective, and I'm a big advocate of this given how stupid expensive even the modern aspect of this hobby can be I do really advocate at least considering this, because, you know, a lot of people will open up tons and tons of packs and then, you know, complain how broke they are for the next couple weeks. And it is honestly a very expensive hobby. I'm not gonna lie and tell you it isn't. And especially as someone who works and has other bills, and I'm sure many of you feel the same, it can be tough opening packs or justifying opening packs, especially when, you know, it's half a month's rent in most of America. You know, like $600 could probably pay half the rent at a, you know, nice apartment somewhere. So, certainly not here in New York, but that's another topic for another day. The whole point is that, you know, it's important to consider this in this lens, right? The $537 I spent was a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, I got pretty good value for the box, and I think that's another marker for a very good, well-balanced set. When you're just opening and it's just pure loss after loss after loss, not only is it disheartening, but it also is not a good set or something that you want to experience. Chances are those sets don't get remembered favorably in the future. However, sets like this are very well balanced, generate very good value for you, and honestly, it's not, you know, although it's still an expensive endeavor, you're still spending nearly $600. The good news is at least you're getting nearly $600 in value. So, With all that said, friends, thanks again for checking out another video. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, leave a like down below, and hey, like I said before, if you're not already, feel free to subscribe to join the Gengar Gang. But as always, friends, I appreciate your viewership. Thank you for stopping by. Don't forget to go check out the community post and Instagram a little later. I'll post some of my polls. And yeah, other than that, thanks again for stopping by, and we will talk soon. Peace.